the following Friday.
The following Friday, okay.
Yeah. It's week to week during the summer, we have 8 weeks. We're still waiting on number 7.
Your Honor, we have a couple witnesses here, so if you want to get started.
I'm ready if y'all are ready.
Sure.
Gider versus Hubbell. Number 7. Is there another attorney on the case, or did you have an attorney, ma'am?
No.
Okay. And Gider, yeah, can be wherever we need to be on that. Oh, this is about the homeschooling issue?
Yes, Your Honor.
I think it's fairly limited to that, right?
Yes,
Okay, are we ready to go forward?
we are. And Your Honor, just to limit things a little more in the beginning, father is not objecting to homeschooling in theory. It's not, we're not trying to make it an issue of whether or not homeschooling is good or bad in theory. It's just limited to this situation. So, we're here because they have joint custody over their child, and the mother has informed the father that she would like to homeschool the child, and that only a judge can change her mind. However, Anderson, the case of Anderson, has held that in joint custody, if a mother were to think that she had unilateral rights over homeschooling a child, the father is essentially put in a powerless position, and it essentially relegates joint custody to being void, if that's the case. He's not saying it's inherently bad, but given her mental health, physical health, and past record of failed attempts at homeschooling, he doesn't believe it's in the best interest of the child in this scenario. So as our first witness, we would like to call Lydia Hubbell as an adverse witness, please.
All right. You can just testify from right there.
Do I need a?
Of course.
Can I object to the, no?
Punishment sworn yet?
Nope.
Okay, we'll get those.
Are there other witnesses?
Who's the other witnesses? Any others in
The
the
other
courtroom?
two are not in the courtroom yet, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Well, they have the right to call whoever they want as a witness and put on whatever proof.
Am I supposed to be made aware that they're calling witnesses?
They said, I said, who's your first witnesses? We're gonna call you, and they called you as what's called an adverse witness, which means they can lead you as opposed to if you were not an adverse witness. So that's under the rules of procedure, so.
Ms. Hubbell, can you please state your name for the court?
Lydia Hubbell?
And you have a daughter named Delara with Mr. Gider, is that correct?
Yes.
And is it correct that you have joint legal custody of Delara?
Yes.
Have you informed Mr. Gider that you wish to homeschool Delara?
Yes.
And how are you employed?
I am not employed.
How long have you been unemployed?
Since September of 2008.
And what was the reason for your unemployment in September of 2008?
I had Delara and I couldn't work and take care of her both.
When you say you couldn't work and take care of her both, why was that?
I don't understand the question.
Why was it you were not able to work and take care of Delara?
I didn't have enough hours in the day, energy to, I don't understand what you're
Let me try and
trying to.
see if we can get to the point of it. Most people, a lot of people, when they have a child, they have a job and they don't have someone who's at home taking care of the child. They hire daycare, put the child in daycare, go to work, pick the child up from daycare and do all that during the day as opposed to not work and stay home with the child, so.
Oh, well, for one thing, Mr. Gider did not want me to work. He wanted me to stay home. That's part of the issue. But I also have been on disability for several years, and I was working only part-time, and it would have, I could not work and take care of a baby at the same time. I don't know what,
Okay.
I don't know if that answers your question.
You're answering well so far.
How long have you been on disability?
I think it's been since 2002, 12 or 13 years.
And what was the reason for your disability?
Originally, or why am I still on disability?
Well, I guess what was the original reason first?
Originally was major depression,
And so you are still on disability?
yes.
And why are you currently on disability?
I've got fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome, and I'm not reliable. I've been found to not be capable of substantial gainful activity.
Can you explain what fibromyalgia is?
Fibromyalgia is a neuromuscular condition, and the major symptoms are fatigue and pain, widespread pain throughout the body. It's something that's hard to treat, it's hard to predict. When I have flare-ups, it's one of the way they describe it is it's a flu-like illness. So if you've ever had the flu and you've ached all over and you've been too exhausted to even pick up the TV remote, when my fibromyalgia is flaring up, and it does flare up. Typically, well, I don't know. I don't want to answer more than she asked. Is that
Yeah,
enough?
that is fine. How often does it flare up?
I typically have, it varies in intensity, but typically I lose about 2 days a week, or parts of 2 days a week where I just cannot function the way I would like to, and it's just unpredictable.
Okay. And what about chronic fatigue syndrome? Can you explain what it means to be diagnosed with that?
Chronic fatigue syndrome, when I was diagnosed with it, it's when you have 6 months or more with profound fatigue, and that's something that I don't typically have 6 months at a time of where I'm that exhausted. Typically, my fibromyalgia is what's my disabling condition.
But the fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome were not the original reasons that you went on disability, is that correct?
Right, I just told you it was major depression.
Okay. So has your health gotten worse in the past few years than since 2002?
Since 2002, my mental health has improved dramatically. I think you got a letter from my therapist about that, about how stable I am mentally.
Well,
And my
What about your physical health?
fibromyalgia, it's pretty much been stable for several years.
stable being a couple times a week there are flare-ups?
That's pretty much been the typical pattern over the past year. Last year, I did have a chronic fatigue episode that was about 8 months, and that's the first time in about 10 years that I'd had that extensive a period of time.
Were you also anemic for a period of time?
I tend to have low iron, but I was anemic a couple of years ago. It's been 2 years ago, I think I have been anemic.
Okay. And when the anemia is acting up, what are the symptoms?
My anemia doesn't act up.
Okay.
I don't typically have symptoms of anemia.
Okay. So when you said that you have been anemic, how did you know that you were anemic?
Because of my blood count,
What made you know that you needed to test your blood count?
because I was losing severe amounts of blood, and the doctor told me I should get my blood tested, and they're monitoring that very closely.
And then did you have a uterine bleed last year?
I have uterine bleeds on a regular basis. I haven't hit
It's
menopause
interesting,
yet.
but I'm not sure the relevance to making a homeschooling decision on the uterine bleed.
Well, Your Honor, the relevance is just the health as a whole and whether she's able to do the tasks required with homeschooling with all the health issues.
Find out if it impacts her ability to, or it would impact the ability to care for the child too, I would say.
Have you suffered from any anxiety or depression in the past?
Yes.
How often do you currently see a therapist?
Typically I go once a month for medical management. So I've been as many as twice a week, depending on what's going on in my relationship with Mr. Gider and how,
Oh, we have a witness here? Oh, we'll have the witnesses out in the hall. We have a witness here.
Sorry, Hannah. Do you feel that your time with Delara is limited because you have to share your time with her with Sanan?
yes, I think so. I think she would have more benefit having two parents in the same household. I think that's a tremendous benefit to children, to not have to split between two houses.
Is part of the reason you don't want Delara in public or private school because it will interfere with your parenting time with her?
That's not the main reason. The main reason, am I supposed to?
Yeah.
The main reason I want to homeschool my child is because I believe it's in her best
I'm
interest.
sorry,
Other witnesses?
Yeah, if you wanna wait in the
We'll
hall.
call you out, we'll call you in
Thank
just a
you.
second. Yeah.
I want to homeschool my child because I want to continue to homeschool her because I have been educating her whole life, just like I did my teenage children. And I feel like children benefit. My background's in early childhood education. This is my third child. And with all my children, I'm very hands-on. I'm very much attentive to them and meeting their needs and listening to what they have to say and noticing things they notice and developing enthusiasm for learning and exploring. And that's my primary reason, because I could give her, in a home environment, that one-on-one, there's the best private school in the world cannot compare to that for her meeting her needs at this early
Let me stop you there,
age.
because my question was, is part of the reason that you want to homeschool her because you feel like sending her away to school will interfere with your parenting time?
Actually, that's part of it. It would, if she went to regular school, I'd be losing about 25 hours a week of my parenting time with my child, and I think she would suffer from that.
Do you believe that Mr. Gider is trying to take away your parenting time with Delara by doing this?
I think it's a side effect. It's a side effect that I've tried to discuss with him, but it's not his primary. I love Mr. Gider. I think he's a wonderful man. I think he's a wonderful father. I appreciate the relationship he has with his daughter, but I think he wants to do what he thinks. I think he's trying to act in her best interest, but I think it. What was your question again? I'm sorry.
The question was, do you think that he's trying to take away your parenting time with her?
I don't think that's his primary motivation.
Okay.
No.
Ms. Hubbell, do you have a Facebook account?
Yes.
And is your name on Facebook Lydia Hubbell?
Yes.
Do you recognize this posting?
Oh, this is about the mediation. Mediation. Yeah,
Do you-
because
my question was
she's got highlight on this.
Whoa, listen to her question.
My question was just, do you recognize this
Do
posting?
you recognize the person?
But it's obviously mine. I don't recognize it. But
So you are acknowledging that this is one of your
yeah,
postings?
I'd say that's one of my postings.
Could you please read the highlighted portion?
Okay, I was frustrated. We're just talking about when we were in mediation. I was frustrated when they kept saying that Delara's dad did not want to take my parenting time away. How can they say that I'm not losing my parenting time when they are wanting to take my control away of over 22 hours a week of the best hours of the day? They were not listening to me. I kept hearing he's not trying to take her away, but I could visualize a calendar with all the day hours, Monday through Friday, marked out that she was going to be kept away from me against my will. But that's not his primary motivation. I thought you were asking me, was that his primary? That's the side of it.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Fully.
Thank you very much. Do you have any other children?
Yes, I do.
And how old are they?
Callie's 17 and Noah's 15 and a half.
And did you at one point try to homeschool your older children?
Yes, I did.
How long did you homeschool them for?
I homeschooled my children until Callie was in kindergarten, and we were, by that time I was divorced, and her father, I noticed he's here.
No, just,
Um,
how long was the question? How long did you
Well,
homeschool them?
Well, we took a break. I homeschooled her till she went to kindergarten, and then she went to kindergarten in public school, and then I homeschooled her for the first semester of first grade when I was trying to homeschool her and homeschool my son, and also work part-time.
So you homeschooled her for one semester?
One semester of first grade.
Okay.
That's after she, had to go to school.
Did you ultimately decide that homeschooling then was not working out?
Yes.
And did you then send them back to public school?
I decided it was not, I decided that under those circumstances, it was in my child's best interest for me to put her back in school, because I felt like under those circumstances, I was not able to do the kind of job with her I wanted to.
Okay. And what is your relationship currently like with your older children?
We've got a good relationship.
I didn't hear about the son. Did you homeschool your son also? You're 15?
I homeschooled,
I'm saying after actual school, after kindergarten or later.
no, I didn't homeschool my son at all, because I was trying to work at that time, and I just couldn't do it, because I want to do what's best for my kids,
Right,
and
I understand.
it wasn't, under that
It was an
situation, it
unanswered
wasn't
question.
best.
The question was, tell us how long you homeschooled your children, and I only got one. I never heard about the second one. So
I
answered it.
homeschooled him, his birthday fell.
You answered
Where-
the question.
Huh?
You didn't homeschool him after kindergarten, correct?
No, I did a homeschool curriculum with him the year before he had, because of the way his birthday fell. So he did a year of homeschool kindergarten before he went to public school.
So you said that your relationship with your older children is pretty good, is that what you said?
They're teenagers, so it's not like it
It's
is my
relative.
relationship with my little one.
Is part of the reason you want to keep Delara at home because you want to have a stronger relationship with her than you have with your older children right now?
I think homeschooling is conducive towards
Is that
close
part of your
relationships.
motivation and reason? Yes, it is. No, it's not.
I think it's part of it. That's part of the reason I want to homeschool. I think it's important to have the, good, trusting, stable relationships. I think that's very important.
Okay. Did you start a GoFundMe account for this litigation?
Yes,
What was the tagline or the title that you chose for that account name?
I don't remember.
Was it Keep Delara Home?
Yeah, that sounds right. Well, you
Okay.
know.
So it wasn't help Delara get the best education or
No,
or
it's
help
keep Delara.
focus on Delara's
Keep
education?
Delara home for
Keep
education.
Delara home. Okay. What school program are you planning to use to tutor Delara?
I'm planning on using mostly a literature-based approach, Charlotte Mason, and if Sanan or Mr. Gider will help pay for it, the Classical Conversations, which is a Christian classical, it's a classical model of, it's based on a classical model, but it's Christian, and Christian isn't really classical education because true classical isn't Christian, but it's classical conversations.
What would her daily schedule be with this program?
Her daily schedule?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is not a full week program. That's 24 weeks a year. You actually meet, and I specifically picked that program out trying to make Mr. Gider feel better, because it's got the Foundations program on 1 day a week, which the community I would be in would be on Tuesdays. So on Tuesdays from 9 to 12, there's a classroom setting, and they've got tutors. Usually it's other parents who are working as tutors, and so she'll have her classroom, and they meet at a church, and they'll have it'll be like a classroom setting, and then the children present their work, and they do different lessons and stuff. I've tried to talk to her dad. I've got information about that, but I don't know how much information you're trying to get out of me right now.
I just wanted to know what her daily schedule would be like with this program.
You talking about like a lesson plan?
Yeah, if there's a set schedule, you said that this is on Tuesdays, what about the other days of the week? Is it a couple, like an hour?
Well, okay,
in,
so
or-
when you go in on Tuesday, they review what they did the week before, and then you get set up for what you're gonna do the following week. But I'll have 4 hours of instructional time a day. Under the state law, I have to have 4 hours of instructional time, 180 days out of the year. And that will vary, the schedule will vary. But it'll be 4 hours of instructional time, and we'll be covering the classical conversations is,
Do you
That's
have a
mostly-
lesson plan, like right now, starts tomorrow? Do you have a lesson plan set up for Monday we're gonna do this, Tuesday this, Wednesday this, Thursday
we
this?
typically do the same,
No, I'm not asking what you typically do. I said, do you have a lesson plan that you can show me? Here's a lesson plan.
no, I don't.
Okay. So you can't tell me today, on Monday, we're planning on doing this, and here's how.
Well,
I'm gonna
we
do it.
haven't started, like my Saxon map, we're gonna start that in, most of this is gonna start in August. So, you know, right now what we're doing is we're doing more the Charlotte Mason literature-based things, where we're doing a lot of science, we're doing a lot of nature study, we're spending a lot of time outside, we're reading a lot of books she's reading to me, we're practicing our writing. You know, this is just kindergarten, this is kindergarten curriculum. Did I answer your question?
If not, she'll ask again.
Yes, ma'am. Let's see here.
But it varies, but the classical conversations, like I said, it's only 24 weeks
Okay.
out of the year. So we'll do, you know, we can do unit studies, but typically we do a lot of things. We read every day, we practice
I
writing
wanna
every day.
go from we can to the plan is, okay? Do you understand the difference? We're doing this and we can do this, and it's 24 weeks, and we can do this and we can do that. What we're looking for is, the plan is for us to do, and laying out what the plan is. That make sense? So we can all take a look and say, oh, here's the plan, and here's how it works, as opposed, well, we could do this, we do. That's kind of vague, and that's, no one can pin any of that down.
Well, I haven't gotten that written up for August yet. But like I said, right now, we're doing a lot. We're working in mostly the literature-based Charlotte Mason type nature study.
Okay. What kind of problems do you foresee that you may face with homeschooling Delara?
Problems? I don't foresee, did you have something in mind?
No?
I don't foresee any problems
Didn't
homeschooling.
say, I don't foresee any.
Ms. Hubbell, what is your email address?
I've got different ones. You have my email address.
Okay.
What
Lydia
is
Hubbell at
your
MSN.com.
email address? Your email address is not you have it. It is,
It's Lydia, the one I'm using with you is Lydia-Hubbell at MSN.com, but I have
Okay,
a couple
well, that
other
saves
ones.
me my next question. So you have been emailing me a couple times during
Yeah.
this litigation. Okay. Do you recall sending me an email on June 7th?
No.
No? Okay. Do you recognize this as an email that you would have sent?
Yeah, this
Okay.
looks,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you. And in this email, it says, you two should back off till next year and see if by then something might have changed in our lives to make homeschooling less than the best. It could be any number of things that could happen, and it could be something as simple as Delara not being cooperative enough for her to learn what I need to teach her, and I feel someone else might do it better, or if she just decides she wants to try traditional school, or if my health gets worse, etc. When you said that you two should just back off till next year, did you mean that these things are all possibilities that could be something that came up?
Yes, that's why I've always said I just want to go year to year, because I can't commit to homeschooling for forever.
Okay.
And I
That-
just want to
that-
go year to year, and as long as it's in my child's best interest, I want the opportunity to continue to do that
Okay, that brings me to my next question. How long do you plan to homeschool Delara?
until it doesn't work. Like, for example, some of the things I just said, I don't know. As long as she's doing as great as she's doing right now, and because she's doing so well, and academically she's doing so well, and she's just got all this enthusiasm for learning, and we spend so much time during the day, and she's creating things, and she's got so much freedom to it's just amazing. And but as long as, you know, in different developmental stages.
Let me ask you another question real quick. What program, or do you plan to homeschool her in high school?
I can't, what if I do? Was that your next question? I
No,
can't see
answer-
that far in the future.
That's your answer then. There you go. You answered perfectly.
If you were to homeschool her in high school, have you looked into what kind of homeschooling programs you would use?
I know of several. The classical conversations goes all the way through high school, and the child is a Charlotte Mason, so I could do the same thing as long as it's working. But the good thing about homeschooling is,
I think you answered the question earlier by saying, it's too far in the future, I don't know yet,
Okay.
so that's the answer to the question.
Do you, right now, plan for Delara to go to college?
I'd like for her to, if she wants to. I don't want to force her to if she doesn't want to, but
What would you be doing during the homeschooling to help facilitate a transition from private homeschooling to a public college learning atmosphere?
It's a long way down the road. If
That
you've
is
thought it
correct,
through,
too.
have you thought it through what you do to transition? Because that's way down the road.
well, based on the people
Have
I
you
know
thought
who,
it through, yes or no?
what?
Have you thought through the answer to that? or
I
you-
don't think it's something that has to be addressed because it just happens naturally. Children who are, they typically don't have any kind of there's not really I don't know of any people that I've known personally that have gone to college that have had any kind of transitional problems. They typically do very well. I'm not sure what your concerns are.
Okay.
You don't have concerns, she has questions.
Question. Well, I'm assuming
Don't
that
assume
if there's a problem, I'll deal with it when it comes up. I'm not,
We're
I
not
haven't
assuming,
foreseen
it's
it.
either I have a plan, I don't have a plan, I thought it through, I haven't thought through, whatever. These are just, we're not assuming things, I'm trying to get out of assumptions and reading into what she's really asking you and trying to anticipate, just listen to her questions, answer, and we can get through this a lot quicker.
So, not thinking then about the college and what might happen there, when you have said in the past that you don't understand what's so crucial about the kindergarten year, does that mean that you don't believe her kindergarten year is important as a part of her education?
I never said that. I never said that, and I said
Okay.
that in my answer. I
Ms.
asked
Hubbell, you
him,
just
I
said-
asked Mr. Gider, what is it to him that he thinks is so crucial that if she is homeschooled,
Ms. Hubbell, do you recognize this email from Ms. Falk that you sent to me?
yeah, I want him to answer what the question for me, what is so crucial
Just
about
yes,
the
thank
kindergarten
you.
year?
Okay. I want him to answer the question for me, what is so crucial about the kindergarten year? Those were your words?
Yes,
Thank you.
what he thinks.
That was all, thank you.
I understood.
It's not that, I think every year is crucial.
You answered the question, you read that, and that's, this is what he thinks is so crucial.
Can you please describe to me the condition of your home?
What do you mean?
Can you describe, if you were to describe to a stranger what your home condition is it neat, is it cluttered, is it messy?
It's kind of messy. It's typically, since I've had kids, we've usually got projects going on, and it's pretty messy.
Has keeping
typically.
your home clean been kind of an ongoing struggle for you?
Since I've had kids, yes, and especially since I've had health problems.
Was there a time when you and Mr. Gider spoke and decided that it would be best for Delara to go to Primrose 1 or 2 days a week to give you some time to clean up your home?
Yes. Well, he always wanted her to go to school, but
Okay.
when she was 2, and I felt like, well, maybe I could, since those were his parenting days anyway, I felt like that might help.
That might help with what?
Catching up on housework.
Okay. How many rooms in the home do you and Delara frequently go into?
We mostly, let's see, 1, 2, well, I consider my kitchen and what it was a dining area, I consider that one big room. I consider that like a great room.
Okay.
So we've got that room, and then we've got the room we sleep in, and we've got the great room, and we've got the bathroom. So that's typically where we live.
Okay, so those three, the bathroom, the room that you and Delara share a room?
Mhm.
The bathroom, the room you sleep in?
She's got
and the-
another room,
and-
she's a bedroom too, but
and the
she
great
sleeps
room?
with me. Yeah.
Those are the three. How many rooms in the house do you not go in?
Three bedrooms, one of them's an office, and then the one of them's the kid's bedroom, and one of them's my son's bedroom, but they've been staying up with their dads lately, so.
Would you say that those rooms are more cluttered than the
Yes.
rooms that you do go into?
Yes, they are.
When the guardian ad litem visited your home, were there any rooms that you refused to show her?
I didn't refuse to show her anything. I didn't refuse, she didn't, she saw what the areas were, I don't think she saw the bathroom, but I didn't refuse to show her.
Did you show her the 3 rooms that you would
No,
tell her don't go
I
in?
didn't show her my garage, I didn't show her my basement, showed her the backyard, showed her the front yard.
Okay. Did you spend a significant amount of time cleaning your home before the guardian ad litem came to visit you?
Yeah, I did. I spent, yeah,
And why was that?
because I spent 8 weeks working, being distracted with this stuff, and I just need to clean it up.
So did the mess pile up for those 8 weeks?
The mess piled up for, yeah, it kinda did. But, yeah, okay.
Are you ever afraid that the messiness will set a negative example for Delara?
I think children do best in, no, I think people is, in general, it's ideal situation is, orders best.
Okay. I don't have any further questions at this time. Ms. Willis?
Guardian will have some questions, and you'll be able to fill in any other testimony you want based on that.
Ms. Hubbell, you stated you have a background in early childhood education.
Yes.
Did you not when you just testified?
Yes.
Can you explain to the court what that is, please?
Early childhood education is typically, it's considered the years between birth and 8 years.
But you stated that you have a background in it, so what exactly
Oh, I'm
is your-
sorry.
Yeah, what exactly is your background?
I answered what's early childhood education instead of what my background is.
It's okay.
I started working professionally in childcare centers, center-based childcare when I was 17. I did center-based childcare for 7 years, and I worked as a nanny for 7 years, and I've been a mother for 17 years.
Okay.
And my training experience is, had 2 years of college, and my focus of study was early childhood education. I got a lot of informal training when I worked for the Army Child Development Services. Lots of on-the-job training and conferences, and plus all my own self-study about that.
Did you receive an associate's degree, or did you have a degree?
No, I did work towards a special credential called a Child Development Associate.
Okay. Now, in regard to your health, you stated that you've been found to be unreliable for substantial activity. Were those your words?
Gainful activity,
Gainful.
substantial gainful activity,
Okay.
which is what Social Security, that's more than 20 hours a week working, employed.
So, and you also testified that your flare-ups, at least 2 a week, can be very unpredictable.
Yes.
Can you see how these 2 things combined might be concerning for someone in your regard to homeschooling? That it could get in, do you believe that your homeschooling could get interrupted, of the child could get interrupted based on your health? And that's very unpredictable.
Well, life in general is unpredictable, but as I said in my answer, when I addressed all these things in my answer, is I homeschooled before, I've been homeschooling her for all these years, and sometimes I have to adjust activities, but she's doing so well in spite. It's like, he doesn't have 2 arms, but he could tie his shoes. I don't have, I'm not capable of working more than 20 hours outside the home, but I've shown, you can look at my children and see that I've been able to meet their educational needs.
So my question for you is, if you were to have a flare-up and you were, let's say, it was a really bad one, you were unable to do something that whole week, how would you then make up that school time for her?
Well, under the current schedule, I have her more than 4 hours, 4 daytime hours, 7 days a week. So, I shouldn't have trouble getting 4 hours a day, no matter what. I mean, even when I had that chronic fatigue episode, I was spending probably 6 hours a day. If I wasn't directly involved with her, we were like, I was giving her books to read, or we were having conversations, or supervising, independent activities for her. So I've got this all figured out. I've been doing it for years.
So you would never foresee a problem with, if your health flared up, you not being able to continue
I could still
schooling?
make sure she has 4 hours of instructional time, 180 days a year.
Okay.
Unless I'm dead, I don't see anything that could
Now-
or in a coma.
Last year, when you had chronic fatigue syndrome that lasted to 8 months, tell me a typical day, how did that affect you?
Typical day,
Let's
I
talk
spend-
about your least, the day that it affected you least and your worst day. Let's talk about the least day first. How would that affect you? What things were you able to do in a typical day?
man, that was last year. I didn't do much. I didn't cook much. I didn't, most of the, are you talking about when I had Delara, what we did with Delara?
Just in general, what was a typical day? Let's start here.
Spending most of the day in bed.
Okay, so your worst day, were you able to get out of bed at all?
Not much. It's like having the flu.
Okay,
Yeah.
and how were you able to care for Delara on those days?
We would, well, and sometimes I'd get a window of time where I could be more engaged with her. But like if she'd go outside to play, I have, I take a lounge chair out so I could supervise her. Or if we go to the playground or the park, it's just, I would need to, or we'd lay in the bed and read books or do computer games. There's lots of computer games she'd do together. So we just do more sedentary things
Okay.
on those days.
Did you ask Mr. Gider for help during that period of time at all?
Typically, yeah, sometimes, but not, it wasn't a whole lot. But on Fridays, typically I go to his house and Delara spends the night with him Thursday night, and I go Friday morning and have her for the day, and then I get her back to him. So sometimes when I was really sick on Friday, I'd call and say, can you keep her? Do I need to come out there and get her, or can you keep her for today to keep me from, because this is long, it was a lot. And I think every time I asked him, he said, that's fine, no problem.
Okay.
But it wasn't that many, it wasn't that often. Usually I would take her.
Isn't it correct that you believe one of the reasons all of this is happening in court is that Mr. Gider's trying to control the situation between you and your daughter?
He wants to control, well, I said earlier, I think he's really trying to do what he thinks is best for her. And he really thinks that it's best, because he's Turkish and homeschooling's illegal in Turkey. He doesn't know anybody that's been homeschooled. He didn't want to meet or talk to anybody that I know that's been homeschooled. He doesn't want to go to any information meetings.
non-responsive.
I'm sorry.
Isn't it correct that you've stated to me before that you believe Mr. Gider's trying to control the situation?
Yes, he is. He's trying to, but he's trying to do what he thinks is best, and he is trying to control it. Yeah, he is. He's
Now, in regard to your other children, you stated you divorced and the children were very young? Is that
yes, they're like 3 and 4.
okay? And at the period of time that you guys divorced, did you remain the primary residential parent and have the children the whole time?
Actually, he's on paper. My ex-husband was primary residential parent, but in reality, he didn't want to pay child support. But I wanted the kids, and he didn't want to have to pay child support. So after the divorce was over, I had the kids all the time.
Okay. Up until when? Was there a period of time that changed?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, like 2 years ago, when I was having a lot of stress with her dad, and I was trying to minimize my stress. And the kids were teenagers, and
They went to live with their father.
I sent him over, and their dad only lives 5 miles away, so
Okay.
and we would still see each other every day.
Okay.
But
Can you describe Delara's energy level, kind of her personality?
she's very active. She's very energetic. She's very enthusiastic. She's very passionate. Very active, and that's another reason why I think she needs to be home in a more free environment.
She's very high energy.
Very
correct?
high energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one of my questions for you, and I'm going to ask you again for the court, I had a concern that you would have difficulty actually getting her to focus for a period of time. Do you see that as an issue?
Typically, I try to read her and pick. That's when the flexibility of the time and stuff is. I don't have any trouble getting her to do what she needs to do during the day, but I might have to say, okay, we need to go out and burn some energy before we can sit down and focus on this. But she can sit easy an hour or two working on different tasks but it's getting her engaged and making things, interesting to her. But
Okay.
yeah, she's doing very well.
How do you, she is very smart, correct?
Yes.
She tests gifted,
Yes.
correct, already?
She's always tested in advanced category, and the school psychologist tested her, and she is 99th percentile for word identification, sight words and letters, and she is 93rd percentile for the applied problems, which are the math skills.
Okay, and how do you, if she gets off task during, when you're trying to teach her, how do you redirect her? I think you said sometimes you take breaks outside, or.
Sometimes it's just like, I'm firm with her. If I know, she's not, it's meeting her needs, if she's not sleepy, she's not hungry, she doesn't have to go to the bathroom, and it's just like a will thing, then I apply discipline, and, she needs that structure too.
Okay.
But, but usually we've got a good parent-teacher relationship, and it's been good so far. I just want to continue it.
Now, I want to get out some of your other concerns with her going to public school or private school, just school in general. I believe correct me if I'm wrong, you've stated to me that one of your concerns would be kind of the stress of driving to school and,
Yes.
and the schedule
Yes.
of school
And
all
all the
those
hours
sorts
in
of
the traffic where I think she could be spending her time more productively.
things. Okay. Now, you said you use a literature-based approach, but we didn't really get into what exactly that means. So I want to be kind of clear. There are homeschoolers that use actually boxed kind of curriculums.
Right.
Is that correct?
Right.
And that would be a curriculum where you're actually receiving lesson plans and items to use, and they say this is what you should be doing each day for 4 hours a day.
Yes, that's like doing school at home
Yes.
instead of making it customized.
But that is not what you do, correct?
Right.
Okay,
I've
so
got
you
a-
have more of an eclectic
yes.
approach.
Yes, which
Okay.
is more geared toward my particular child rather than general.
And so explain to me what you mean when you say a literature-based approach to the homeschooling. Where you use a literature-based approach.
That's something like doing, when you're learning about science, when you're learning about history, you look for books to make, they call them living books, to make the subjects really come to life. And, she'll be doing it just makes it more engaging, I think.
Okay. And I just want to be clear, the classical conversations program,
Foundations that's her age group, is up
Okay,
to fourth
classical
grade.
conversations program, that's like a supplemental program to
Ac-
your approach. It's not a they don't give
it's-
you kind of a full curriculum.
Actually, it is full except for, like I said, it's 24 weeks out of the year. But I'm adding Saxon math, the math program, and the literature, and the phonics. But otherwise, that is the skeleton
So she would go, but for that program, she would only go 1 day a week
for the classroom time.
for the classroom.
And then we'd be
time.
working on the.
They would actually give you things that you had to work on.
We'll be working on that during the week,
Okay.
and yeah.
You would not be able to pay for that, correct? If Mr. Gider did not pay for it himself.
Yes, which
Okay.
means I'd have to do more of,
More eclectic stuff, bringing more.
yeah, but
in.
there's so many things to choose from, and, I've already got things that I was gonna supplement the classical conversations with, so I could just, build my own.
How do you come up with your approach? Is it kind of a fly by the seat of your pants kind of thing, or you just bring it all together that day?
Well, there's guidelines, the state has benchmarks and stuff, and I work towards meeting those benchmarks.
Okay. If we wanted to come at the end of the year and say, we want to see how you've done, how would we be able to see, is there testing that's done? How could we measure if the homeschooling had worked for Delar or had not?
There's private testing that's always available, but we're also, I've got, portfolios of her work, and she's got a blog online. She wanted to have a blog online, and she was doing lots of her activities, and she wanted to have like different areas. And so that's kind of like a diary of we don't update every day, but it would over time give a very good idea of what she does over the school year, and the activities and the experiences, and what she's learning, and narrating and relating back what she's learned, so she's mastered it.
Okay. Now you've you've expressed to me, isn't it correct, that Delara is a little bit behind socially with other children her age? Like, she doesn't share very well.
Those are developing skills.
What are some of those other things that she struggles with a little bit in a kind of a classroom or like at the Primrose School?
Well, what I see in her is she tends to be very bossy, and, you know, she wants to be in charge, which some people might see that as a weakness and some people would see that as a strength, but that's just, we're working on manners. They're developing skills for a 5-year-old.
Okay. Now I've seen your home, so I just wanna help the court vision it. So you walk in the front door, and one of the rooms you discussed, that you guys use is the very front room, right from the front door.
It's the front room. It was the biggest room in my house.
Okay, and that's the room where the bed is.
And when the baby was born, I had the changing, that's why I made it that room, it had a rocking chair and the changing table, and, yeah, and I like my bed.
So that's where you guys sleep. It's a big queen
Mhm.
bed or
This,
something.
yeah, it's full size.
Okay. And you have some schooling things up against the wall on the right side.
Those need to be updated, those are kind of,
Okay.
they're kind of.
And then you
old.
walk through a doorway, and that's your kitchen.
Yeah,
And then a little dining room table.
I think when they built the house, it was supposed to be a dining area, but we've made it our little sitting room, that's like our living room.
So that's the second room you really kind of use.
Yeah.
And the bathroom you
Yeah,
guys use.
One bathroom, we have one
And
bathroom.
the other rooms aren't used.
We're not right now, we're gonna, over the summer, we're gonna do a lot of
So
remodeling.
it's not like a typical, I don't wanna say typical, maybe that's not the right word, but it's, you know, Delara doesn't have a room that she can go to for her own space or anything like that with all of her stuff in it. Those rooms aren't used in the house.
The room, there's one room that, I'm trying to get that all set up for her and get my, it's got bunk beds in it, so it's her and her sister, like if her sister comes over, but,
When was the last time, let's talk about that, when was the last time your other two children have come over to spend the night?
it's been a while. It's,
Since
my
they
son
left?
was here last summer,
Okay.
and he was there last summer, but he's probably gonna be back in this summer and start getting, stay with me through the school year, and my daughter has a car,
Okay,
so, yeah, that's the plan, is for him to come back.
I believe that's all I had, thank
Okay.
you.
Any other questions?
Just sort of, you said that in your divorce, you didn't want to pay child support and you wanted kids, so on paper you put down that he was the primary parent?
That's what the judge said. The judge said he's primary, Judge Solomon said, and I've got a copy of that final decree if you need to see it.
Okay.
You need to see it?
So the judge said because of the child support, he's the primary
No,
parent?
no.
What was the
No.
reason the judge gave for making him the primary
If we
parent?
can see that, Your Honor, I'd be interested.
The-
I have a copy of it.
Oh, you got the order? What was the question?
What was the reason the judge gave for making him the primary parent?
She just felt like I had, because all the stress in my marriage and divorce and stuff, and I told you I had the major depression, and this second day in court, I just kind of melted under cross-examination, and I could tell that she's like, well, maybe she can't handle the kids full-time. So, she wrote the order up it would be temporary, and we could come back and have it reviewed in a year. And, so she made him primary residential parent, and she gave me plenty of extra visitation, and I could take him to church and stuff. But,
Okay.
but they stayed with me after that. When it was over, they were with me.
There's the final decree of divorce, and then there was also an opinion that the judge issued to go along with the final decree of divorce, is that correct?
I couldn't find that.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew I'd seen it before, but I couldn't find it. Oh, yeah, this is what I was looking for.
And on this, it says that you're not stable at the time and have stopped taking your medications.
Your Honor, this was 2002. Is this even relevant?
I don't know, the weight of it, it's relevant to the weight of it.
Excuse me?
The weight of it, whether it's valid now, we'll see.
And I've got a letter from my therapist that
Well,
says
that's,
I'm stable.
that's not admissible, so I would ask to strike that from the record.
They don't have a record in your letter. But we can talk about 2002, but that's a long, long, long time ago.
I understand, I just, it was brought up, so I just wanted to wasn't gonna bring it up, but, so the judge says on here, wife, mother is unable to ensure to this court that the children would be safe and properly cared for while alone in her presence on a permanent basis. Is that correct?
Is that what it says? Is that correct? Not is it true, is that what it says?
I don't see it highlighted on here. That sounds right.
Okay.
That's, I could tell she was, Judge Solomon was, yeah, she was concerned, but I think she also knew that my
I don't
ancestor
wanna talk
was,
about what she knew or not knew. I just wanna see what it says on paper.
okay.
Okay.
I don't, I'm sure it's on here if she says it is, please.
Your Honor, I would move to, admit a copy of this as Exhibit A.
Alright. I mean, it is old, but.
There's a copy of it.
Wait, no, it's fine.
And I don't have any other questions, Your Honor.
Any other questions regarding?
I do just have one to clarify, and it's not, if the judge decided that Mr. Gider could put the child in public school or private school or rather than homeschooling, if Mr. Gider chose to put the child in private school, you would need help with transportation, is that correct, depending on where the child goes?
If she went to private school,
It's not necessarily, depending on where it was.
where it was,
It's not necessarily something you could get her to every single day.
I could, I got my daughter to Harpeth Hall for years, I could, it would be a hardship, it'd be an involuntary hardship.
Okay, I had forgotten that, I just wanted to clarify
Yeah,
that.
it would, yeah, that was,
I've just got a couple questions, cause I'm unsure about a few things. I know y'all got 185 with you, 180 with Dad. What's the breakdown of that time in reality on a week-to-week basis?
in reality, I have her all day Sunday, all day Monday. She has been, last 2.5 years, she's been in preschool. His days are Tuesday and Thursday, but she's been in preschool. He picks her up, picking her up at 6, keeping her overnight. I go to his house Wednesday morning and Friday morning to pick her up. I keep her overnight Wednesday, and I've been taking her to preschool Thursday morning. So I drop her off Tuesday, Thursday at preschool. He picks her up at 6. And then Friday, she spends the night with him Friday night too. So most of his parenting time's overnight. And then Saturday, I get her anywhere between 12 or 2.
What are the days in preschool right now?
Well, last week was her last week.
What were
Tuesday
the
and
days?
Thursday,
Tuesday and Thursday.
yes,
So Tuesday and Thursday she's in preschool. Monday, Wednesday, Friday she's with you.
yes.
Okay.
Till,
And that's been for the last couple of years.
and Sunday and Monday, I have her all day. So every Sunday, every Monday, all day. Those are the only 2 days. I work the schedule out very carefully to try to maximize his time with her. So he sees her 5 days a week, I see her 7 days a week. But I'd
There's not
like
that
to
many
keep
days in a
that.
week. There's only 7 days in a week.
I know, but I see her 7 days a week,
Okay,
and
but
he sees her 5 days a week.
you don't keep her 7 days. He keeps her
No,
5.
but we
That's
both
2 days.
see her. We both
Right.
spend time with her
Gotcha.
those days. But I did have her all day Sunday and Monday, and he doesn't see her at all in those 2 days.
Now, you were mentioning about the room, and you were gonna be doing some remodeling this summer.
I've been sick for, last year I was sick and everything's been in turmoil and all this drama and stuff, but I really feel like, this is a turning point and,
What's your plan on the remodeling?
well, it's not really remodeling, it's reorganizing.
Okay.
Just getting, I wanna, get the, my son's room, set up for him and put like the video games and stuff in there
He's
so we
coming
can
this
always.
summer, right?
Yeah, probably, yeah. And then the other room for my daughter, so when she can go have her own,
How far along were you with that project?
probably about 3 weeks out, I think, I'll have those,
What have you done so far in that project this summer?
oh, I've been working on this. I haven't really done much on it.
Anything else?
No further questions, Your Honor.
Any other testimony from you at this time?
Testimony,
Yeah.
like,
Anything else you need to tell me about this whole situation? the
well,
case and-
about the situation, or,
Yeah, it's your turn
well,
to tell me About the,
Just that Delara is doing so well, and she's so happy, and she's very high energy, and I really think for this year, it's being confined to a classroom and a desk is, I just almost think it would just take the joy out of learning right now. I think what she's doing this year, I'm just talking about this year, that's all I've been asking for, is this year, this kindergarten year. And, she's just doing so well in every way, and I just want to continue to do what's been working well for her. And I think the stability is important, maintaining the status quo is important. And as long as it's working as well as it's working for everybody, the only thing is he's not looking at the facts, and he's not looking at the law, he's not looking at, I told him at the beginning, like, why don't you want me to homeschool? And he says, homeschooling's bad for kids and she won't have any friends. And I said, well, that's, and I've tried to give him all this information, and he's just so closed-minded. But I told him the law says, I'm primary. He's never given me any good reason why to rock the boat. And I told him that the law says homeschooling is not inherently inimical to a child's health or welfare and does not necessarily impose a substantial social burden on a child. Accordingly, non-custodial parents' decision to educate a child through homeschooling cannot prevail solely on such ground. And it says the decision to determine which school a child should attend usually rests with the custodial parent. And I know they changed the law, but that Anderson versus Anderson, they looked at it as primary residential parent carries some weight. And I have gone back 2 years ago. I tried to engage him in discussion. Let's address your concerns. And that's all he said, is it's not good for either. And he wouldn't talk to any of the homeschool families I know, and he wouldn't read any of the research. He wouldn't sit. He can't sit down. He can't even hardly stand and look at me. But and they're saying, well, you didn't even consider his opinion. I begged him. I've got a text message from the end of December. I said, please tell me, show me this evidence to convince me. We went to mediation, and I said, have him bring something. Convince me. I'm open-minded. But I want to do what's best for my child. And everything I've seen so far, I'm 100% convinced that for this year, doing what I've been doing with her and just ratcheting it up a little bit because of her developmental age, levels going up, making it more, keeping it appropriate, there's nothing to compare to it. So I want to keep doing that. And also in the law, it said the court should not countermand a custodial parent's decisions regarding a child's education unless they are contrary to an existing custody order, impose an increased involuntary burden on the non-custodial parent, which I'm not the non-custodial parent, but her going to private school, which is probably going to be a long ways away from me, that would be an increased involuntary burden on me. And it's not illegal, and homeschooling will not, he hasn't been able to show that it will affirmatively harm the child. He's not, I've asked him, in mediation, I said.
we're starting to ramble a little bit here. So
Okay, well, I asked him, can you show me in any way?
You've said it about 4 times, so anything else?
No, I think that's it.
I have one question to follow up on what she just said. Do you have any concerns that for whatever reason, your health or this homeschooling doesn't work out, that if in the middle of the school year, Delara had to go into a school program, that could be more detrimental for her because she's not used to that classroom setting and hasn't acclimated to the schedule of the school and those sorts of things?
I don't see that as being a problem at all, because she has structured
You
time.
don't see it as a problem at all. That's the answer to the question.
That's all I have. Thank you.
What other witnesses did you have?
We have the ex-husband to testify at the state of the home.
He hasn't been in my home
Ma'am.
in years. Sorry.
We have the teacher at our current preschool to testify about the fact that she's often tardy when she's with the mother, and to talk about how she interacts with the other children, if you want to hear that.
Did you have any other witnesses you want to present?
I didn't think we were supposed to have witnesses today, because I thought we weren't supposed to bring any, and she didn't tell me she was bringing any.
I did. I said we're having a hearing on it. A hearing means witnesses. Okay.
Excuse me?
A hearing means witnesses.
Well, the back of one of these papers said don't bring witnesses, so that's why I didn't.
We also have the father to talk about his concerns if you want to.
What piece of paper said don't bring witnesses today?
It was I filed a
Your
motion, and
That was
on the
on- that
back
was on the
side
mo-
of it, it said,
That
do
was
not
on
bring.
that day. That was on that day. Or your motion for today, or the one that originally brought us here?
It was a motion concerning the fact that she didn't think we were talking to the guardian ad litem. I didn't
Okay.
respond to it.
Well, this one is not as difficult for me as some others have been, and I'm just gonna tell you exactly how I see all this, okay? Let me say that I'm the first one to say homeschooling's fine. My children homeschool you have a problem? Can you put someone out? Put out whoever's gonna be problem, so. My child homeschooled for about 3 or 4 years, my oldest child. Not a problem with it at all, I think it's great. But there are certain things that go along with it, and here are the concerns that I have, okay? Schooling, when you get into schooling, it takes a degree of organization and structure. That is what school's about, okay? I'm concerned about your ability to organize and structure, and I will tell you exactly why. The project for your son to come home has been put off because of whatever comes up. The getting the room ready has been put off because of whatever comes up. And the next thing that comes up, maybe the next thing that comes up that puts us off schedule to having a schedule and structure. I remember the last time I said I want to look at the curriculum, I want to see what's going on, I want to be able to compare apples to apples, I want to know what's going on. Didn't bring me in a plan. It's my turn.
Sorry.
Didn't bring me in the type of plan that is needed to be an instructional program. I get it that it's kindergarten, but it still needs to be an instructional program. We're doing A, B, C, and D, not this free, whatever, eclectic kind of mix, okay? Don't have the structure in the school. I don't know anything about all this, and it's not organized in any way that I can say, I'm confident that this is a plan, my term, this is a plan that's organized and structured. So therefore, that's my other concern. I'm concerned about the health-related issues, and this is number 2. So the organizational and the reasons why are 1. The second part is the health. Now, I understand you can't maintain substantial gainful employment. That means there are periods of time when you're unable to work, so that you can't say I can work these hours and be safe working these hours, because things get thrown off, okay? Especially when you have a child who is higher strung like your child is. Structure is uber critical in this case. Structure is super critical to having a day-to-day structure to deal with that type of personality. I'm sure you know that from early childhood education. Structure helps along with those, correct? It does. That is my other concern, is that not that it's an issue today, but it can come up, and if it does, it can throw the structure off, and therefore it may not work. Those are enough for me to say, when I'm weighing it out in these scales, to say it's enough to tip it to say, in this situation, homeschool does not appear to be in this child's best interest. Doesn't mean you can't supplement at home, doesn't mean you can't do all those other great things you're doing on those other times. And I would encourage you to do that, because that's what we did. We supplemented our children's education. They didn't just go to school. We supplemented at home, did all that too. But as far as the primary vehicle and means, I don't see that as a viable option. Now the problem I'm stuck with today is public school or private school. And I still have joint decision making, and we don't have a joint decision. So with school start, I know you want to apply to a private school, you're welcome to make those applications to that.
And I called the FRI Franklin Road Academy today. They have a still room, and
All right.
it is close to our house. If that's
We can make the application. If there's a disagreement, and when does school start?
August, sometime in
We
August.
get same as public schools for the most part?
I don't know when they start, but they still have room. I called them this morning.
We need a decision in the next couple weeks. Yes, ma'am.
I have my instructional stuff over there in the folder
I
about.
sat there and asked you about the plan. I sat here
But
right
I
here and
thought
asked
I
you.
had to see, it's.
No, I asked you, do you have a plan? Well, no, we
I've
don't have
got
a
a
plan.
folder full of this.
I asked for a curriculum, daily curriculum. I remember I asked you those questions. Remember I sat here and asked you that?
That's what's in my folder.
I asked you if you had one, you said no. You know?
I have the overall,
I know you have the idea. No doubt about that. I
But it's
asked
this,
the structured day-to-day organization of what's gonna happen day to day. We don't have that, and that's critical. I mean, that is, every teacher doesn't walk in the classroom until they have a lesson plan for the day, and they don't plan the lesson out the night before necessarily. They have a whole series for, whether it's 6-week blocks or whatever it might be. That's what it takes, so. If we say July 14th, we will have a decision, either a mutual decision or I'll make the decision based on, we'll look at the available options, and what I'm gonna consider in that, I'll tell you, is pretty simple. If it's a private school that's further away and imposes on mother to provide transportation, then you get to provide the transportation as part of that plan, if she wants you to, but you have to be willing to step up and do that. If it's a public school, since the child primarily resides with mother, and that means more days out of the year than with father, then it would be the public school in which the child is zoned where mother's at. And those are the options we have, and we can weigh those two out. If we don't have a mutual decision made by July 15th, we'll be back on July 14th for a very short hearing on those issues.
And Your Honor, just so you know, I'm out of state that day, but I can help them before that time if they need to kind of mediate between.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'd like to, I don't wanna wait till too far, but.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
And is the underlying petition being set, do we know?
Wasn't at that point. We can talk about that on the 14th.
Okay, well, the
I just
reason, I'm
wanted
just
to-
asking, cause my time frame is limited, and I just
Okay.
wanna make sure I'm available for that if Father plans on going forward with
Okay,
that.
I think, well, this is the critical thing. I think
If
this is
necessary.
this is the big hump I need to get over today, so.
Yep, thank you.
All right, Ms. Rice, got the order on that?